I remember when I first started shipping wreaths, and this truly was the biggest struggle I had. Not the making the wreaths, what mesh to use, the ribbon. It was, how do I save the most money, but package it and ship it properly so it doesn't arrive damaged. I wish someone in the beginning had just said, okay, do A, B, C, and D, and boom, that's all you have to do to ship. But it took me forever to find out all the little nuggets from this person, this person, this person, and then put them all together. So that's what I'm doing for you guys. I'm taking everything that I have learned, my trial and error, the things that I've done wrong and I've had to fix. I'm taking all of that and putting it here for you guys to take that guesswork out, because you guys only need to worry about making beautiful things, not stressing about your shipping or if your package is gonna make it okay. Here's our next box. Where did my tape go? All right, I always put my box measurements to the outside unless I'm cutting down the box. If I'm keeping the box the same size as the way I purchased it, I leave that on the outside. That way, if I take this to the post office, they already know. And if they want to say it's 22 by 22 by 9, you can say, look, here's the box. Does anybody have any questions? Now, tape down the sides. Just like that. Ta-da! Regina, this particular box is a 22 by 22 by 8, but I use all kinds of sizes. I use 16 by 16 by 8. I use 22 by 22 by 8. I use 24 by 24 by 6. And I use 28 by 28 by 12. And Nancy, I get all of my boxes from Amazon except for my 16 by 16s, and I purchased them locally at Office Max, Office Depot, Staples, all of those office supply places. I even think Walmart has 16 by 16s. Maybe Lowe's has even up to 20 by 20s. I'm not sure. But I live in a really small town. There's not a lot of resources for boxes here. Hi, Jan. Okay, so let's get our next one. I think, which one are we going to do next? I'm tripping over everything. Okay, so here's our next one. And this one, I wasn't sure if it was going to fit in this one, so we're going to try it. And if it doesn't work, we are going to move up a size. I always try to put them in the smallest box possible to save on shipping, because there is a balloon rate. So once you go over a certain dimension and box weight, you go into that balloon rate charge. And it's 2 to 3 times more expensive than keeping your boxes small. So all of my boxes stay under that balloon rate except for the 28s. And those are for like larger swags, larger pieces that you just can't fit in a smaller box. And I will use those and know when I use those that my shipping is going to be, you know, great, way greater than just using the smaller box. But as you can see, I mean, it's tight. It's very tight. It's not going to go anywhere. Becky asked, how do I ship witches hats? I honestly have not shipped any witches hats this year, so I'm trying to pull from memory. I believe I used an 18 by 18 or a 20 by 20 last year. I don't believe they fit in the 16 to the best of my recollection. Hi, Mary. Okay, so once we get our wreath down in here, you're gonna fluff. Now remember, 2 ways to do your ribbon tails in a smaller box when you're trying to keep it small for shipping purposes. You can either wrap your tails around so they're going down, but just know when your customer pulls that out, they're gonna stay wrapped around the frame. So if you take your bottom tails and you pull them up so they're laying on the side of your box, when the customer pulls their wreath out, then those are going to go whoop and fold out, and they're going to lay out nicely. Hi, Susan. Now, if for some reason you have a big fluffy bow and it's going to get squished when you fold in your lids here, then you can do kind of like a flatten your bow, basically. I don't even know what words to put that into. So take your bow. Let me flip this around here. So you can see this bow is really super flat, okay? It's been compressed. Fluff it out, okay? And get it to lay where you want it. Now for my long tails, I bring them around the front and lay them long ways. All right, so now I have it laying long ways. Now I'm going to take the center and I'm just going to flatten it like this, just a little with your hands, okay? Now what that does, it's like you're controlling where your bow goes. So when your customer pulls this out, all they have to do is just do this on the tail or on the loops, and your bow will form back out. So I just like that, just like that. Now there are some people who put toilet paper rolls in here, and you can totally do that if you're uncomfortable, you know, squashing your bow a little bit. Or you can use a 28 by 28 by 12 box, wire it in so it doesn't move around, and then you can leave your bows fluffy and intact. So I mean, that's just a couple of choices. You can choose whichever one works best for you. So now we just go around and we fluff our ribbons. This will be the last time that we get to fluff, so make sure you do a good job. And again, make sure your bottom tails are either wrapped around the bottom or running up the side. You're very welcome. I wish I had shipped one recently so I could remember exactly, but it's been so long. So, but I would start with an 18 and go from there. We'll try a 16 here in just a second. I've got a hat that's made, and I've got a 16 box, and we'll see how it looks in that one, and then we'll have a better idea of what exactly we need. Right, Susan, you will pay a lot more for shipping a bigger box. That's why this one is going into this small box, and we're placing things just so when they lift it out, the ribbon will lay nice instead of being all funky and wrapped around to the back of your wreath. Now this is also the time to make sure everything is glued in, because if you're like me, sometimes you might get sidetracked and forget to glue just that one piece. So now is the time to give it a tug, make sure everything is glued in and laying where you want it. All right, so I think we're okay on this one. If you can see, here's how I've got it in. Okay. Da-da-da. So again, we take our little paperwork or whatever you're going to put in there. I always sign it. Gives it a little personal touch. Put it in there. And then in go your lids. I'm shaking it to make sure it's not gonna move around. Then I open it, I turned it upside down, and as you can see, it still looks just fine. So it'll arrive okay unless your box gets crushed in transit. All right. Okay, so since I'm not actually adding the shipping paperwork, I'm just writing real small on here what it is. That way I know what's in this box, and when I'm ready to print the shipping paperwork, I can just match them up. So now I add my fragile stickers. I purchased these on Amazon. They're a roll of 500. All right, another one done. So let me take this box up on the bottom, and then I'll show you what to do from here. Here, you're too tall and you can't see, so I'm going to bend these back a little. All right, now you can see. Woo. Doesn't want to cut. There we go. Shipping is very physical. It's hard work. All right. Now, have one of these little beauties. This is called a box ripper, a box cutter downer, a box sizer. People call it all different things, but this essentially easily helps you cut down boxes to the size that you need. Okay, so here's our 16-inch box, and we're going to put this hat in to see how the hat fits. Okay, so as you can see, here's the hat. If you put nothing on the top of the hat, a 16 would totally be okay. because it's snug in the corner. I mean, it's you know, it's pretty snug in there. If you put something on the tip of this hat, you're probably going to want to go up to an 18 on your box. Okay. And you can get 16s and 18s off the shelf in most of your office supply stores, or Lowe's. Walmart even has some. My Walmart only carries up to 14s. I've never seen anything bigger than that there, but I do get mine at Office Depot or Max or whatever. Okay, so now we're going to take our box sizer, and I'll show you what we're shipping. So we're shipping a little baby boxwood, and the 22s are just way too much box for this little piece. We don't need a big box. We don't need it to be very deep. So this is way more box than we need. But because I buy these off the shelf, I have to get 16 by 16 by 16, and then I cut them down to what I need. So you have a box stripper. It's got a little lip here that you hang on the edge of the box. Then these little spikes here will perforate your box and allow it to fold in easily for you. So basically you take your box ripper cutter, you hang it on the edge of your box, and it's got measurements down the side. So you can dial this down to whatever. So if you need to cut your box down 6 inches, you put it on 6 inches, you lock it in. Hold on, sorry. Turn it the wrong way. You lock it in, you hang that lip on your box, and then you run it down. But because I need to cut mine down a lot more, we're going to put this all the way at the top. Okay. I'm going to hang it on my lip. I'm going to put my hand on here, reach down in here, and it's got this little handle on it, okay? And then I just take and I run it across the inside of the box. Whoops. Okay. And then go around your whole box that way. I'm going to go down this first side again one more time, just because I think I missed a part of it. Perfect. Okay, so that was how you use your box sizer. All right, now, because there's going to be so much extra material, because this was a large box, I'm going to take just a straight cutter, a box cutter here, and I'm going to cut down to about where I think that perforation is, okay? Because we're going to have to cut some of this off probably. Try to do it as neat and straight as you can, but I am not one of those that can get it right. So. My cutter, my blade is dull. Okay, so we've released the side, and now we can fold our lid down where we perforated it. So keep cutting till you get down to that perforated area. Almost. I'm going to cut from the inside so I can actually see this time. Okay. We're going to cut the lid off. You won't always have to do this on the bigger boxes because you won't have this much extra. But for this particular one, I've got a lot extra. So I do have to cut this off. Okay? So now we can fold on that perforation. And now we have our first side folded in. Okay? And I don't know if you can see the perforation there on the side of the box that the tool made. So now go to your next side, lay your box down on the ground, start cutting from where your perforation is up to here. You're just releasing the sides of the box, okay? Do the same for all sides. Okay. Just cutting the lids down because we don't need that much extra cardboard. Okay. And the last side. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right. Everything that you're seeing me work with tonight came from Amazon. Okay, so as you see, here's how we fold in our box. Now we have a box this small. That's perfect for this. I know that was a lot of work just for one box, but it does get easier the more times you do it. So, now the second step of this boxing this particular wreath, because this one isn't going to fit snug like the other ones, so it's going to move around in shipment. We need to secure this one to the box. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. You're going to take some pipe cleaners that are a contrasting color. I'm choosing kind of a bright baby pink here. You're going to lay your wreath in your box, however, you want to lay it in there. Once you get it placed, you're going to take an ice pick or some other thing like a screwdriver that you can poke a hole in the box. You're going to feel right around the edge. You're going to poke a hole all the way through. Okay? Come to the other side. Feel where the edge is. Run it down and poke another hole. Okay? And I pull my wreath out. So now I've got two holes in the bottom of my box. One here, one up here. I'm going to take my hole cut or my ice pick, and I'm going to put a second hole right beside it, or anywhere around it is fine. Make sure they're going all the way through. And I turn my box upside down. I take my pipe cleaners. I run them through to the front. That should have been easier, but it wasn't. It bent my pipe cleaner. Okay, so I bend them to the front, or put them into the front. Okay, make sure they're flush and flat across the bottom. Okay. Then you flip your box over. You put your item, your wreath, back in here. You take those pipe cleaners, and now you run it around your wreath, and you secure it down. Okay? And you do that on both sides. Ooh-wee, I'm hot. I'll look and see if there's any questions in just a second. My phone is over there, so I didn't have it on my table. Okay, so again, I'm securing it down tightly, and I don't cut these stems. I leave them sticking out so my customer knows that these have to be cut. So basically, you think about it when you buy toys or things that are secured into the box. They're all zip tied in, and they're secure. So you're doing the same thing with your wreath. You're securing it in. See, it doesn't move now. So it doesn't matter what happens in shipment, your wreath is going to be fine. So then as my final, I always fluff it out, make it look all nice and pretty, just like that. So this is what my customer will see when they open their box. So you'll see the pipe cleaners here, and they contrast so they stand out. So you can see them and know that you're not cutting something that you shouldn't be. So now we have to put our paperwork inside. We lay it in, and then we seal it up. Just like that. Easy peasy. Let's write on it what this one is and put our stickers on it. Oh, you're very welcome, Betty. I have gotten so many questions lately on how to do this. And I know there are so many of you new wreath makers who are struggling with this exact thing. So I thought, I've got to do the work. I've got to ship all these from our live sale the other night. So I thought, why not come on here with you guys? I know JC's not here, but I was like, why not come in here with you guys and just show you exactly how I do it. It's one thing to write it down and you're sitting there reading the steps that I've said, but it's another to actually watch someone do the steps. Okay, there is one last part to this. And this is a very important part. If you have used something to secure your wreath in the box, so we use these pipe cleaners this time, you have to cover that. And the reason why is when the post office or whomever you're using to ship your wreath gets your package, it's going down a conveyor belt. And it can get caught on pieces in the machinery that's sorting the packages if you don't cover these. So I always take brown packing tape, or just brown tape, and I cover over them just like that. That way they won't get tangled or caught on any conveyor belt. And then when the customer needs to release the wreath from the box, they can pull off these pieces of tape, snip those, and then the wreath will come right out. Or they can snip the pipe cleaners from the inside. So there's two ways to get it out. Either snipping the pieces on the bottom that you've covered, or if they can see the pieces on the inside, they can snip them from there. Now, if you're using the big fluffy wreaths in the smaller boxes, you're not going to be able to see those. And honestly, if you're using the smaller box, you're not going to need to secure them in because they're not going to go anywhere. And you saw me doing the shake test. If it doesn't move around and shift and shimmy when I shake it, I don't secure it down. I'm in Kentucky, so I can ship to most of, well, the lower half of Ohio, the lower half of Indiana, and a few other places really close, you know, like a radius around where I'm at. I can ship to those places retail or priority for the same as I can the retail ground. So if you're going into the postal counter, ask for both rates. And if you see that the priority is going to be the same thing as the ground, go ahead and ship priority, because then the insurance is included and it's 2 to 3 days guaranteed shipping rather retail, there's no insurance, and it's a 2 to 9 day shipping. It's the snail mail of the, the package world. So just if you're going into the postal counter, make sure you get both prices and choose accordingly, because sometimes if it's close, if it's going close, it can ship priority for the same as the retail ground.